Welcome to the Prepped and Polished podcast, the podcast that empowers you to take control of your education, featuring weekly interviews with influencers in the world of education, as well as tutoring tips, lessons, and updates. And now, here's your host.
Hi everyone, welcome to another Tutoring Tips episode of the Prepped and Polished podcast. This is Aaron of Prepped and Polished. Please be sure to check out our website at www.preppedandpolished.com. For tutoring in person or online, call us at 781-753-9951 or chat with us instantly on our website. You can join our Prepped and Polished community on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Prepped and Polished. If you have a question after the show, please ask us a question on the chat feature on our website. We love hearing from you. Now let's get right into episode number 244, Ise Levels and Structure. Hi everyone, today on our Tutoring Tips episode of the Prepped and Polished podcast, we're going to be talking about the Ise Levels and Structure. Now, the Ise is for students who are trying to get access into independent schools, similar to that of the SSAT, but these students are typically taking it at a younger age level. First of all, there are several different categories of the test, depending on if you're in the primary level, lower level, middle level, and upper level. Now, each level depends on the grade that the student is entering into. So, primary level is for any student entering in grades 2 through 4, lower level, grades 5 through 6, middle level, grades 7 through 8, and upper level, grades 9 through 12. I know I mentioned at the very beginning that typically students who are taking the Ise are trying to gain access into middle school levels or, elementary school. However, it is the occasion where we've worked with students who are trying to get into high school level as well. Now, each structure of the test is a little bit different, especially when we look at the primary level. I'm only going to give a brief overview, but if you want further detail into the primary level for grades 2 through 4, please feel free to contact us on our website or feel free to give us a call. Now, the primary level, as I said, is for students who are entering into grades 2 through 4. The second grade primary level test is 53 minutes long with an untimed writing section. Third grade is 54 minutes with an untimed writing section. And fourth grade is 60 minutes with also an untimed writing section. Now, looking at each of the tests, there is an auditory comprehension which is only for grade 2 students. It includes one passage, audio only, with 6 multiple choice questions for text and audio. There's also a reading comprehension section. This is for grades 2, 3, and 4, and the questions vary based off of each grade. Grade 2 has 18 questions for 3 passages. Grade 3 is 24 questions for 4, and grade 4 has 28 questions for 4 as well. These kind of questions cover main idea, supporting idea, evidence, vocabulary, organization logic, and figurative language. The timing for each also changes. For grade 2, 20 minutes, grade 3, 28 minutes, grade 4, 30 minutes. There is also a math component. For students in grades who are applying for grades 2 through 3, it's 24 multiple choice questions. For grade 4, there are 28 multiple choice questions, plus several picture problems. Content for the math section includes anything from number sense and operations to certain algebraic concepts, geometric concepts, measurement, data analysis, and probability. The timing for each grade level is different. For grades 2 to 3, it's 26 minutes long, and for grades 4, it's 30 minutes long. Last part of this test is the writing sample. Again, for grades 2 through 3, you have a picture prompt. For grade 4, it's a written prompt, and they want to test you on what are your basic writing skills. And as I mentioned before, untimed for the essay. Now moving up into the next level, we have the lower level. Now these are for students who are entering grades 5 through 6. Now the total time for this test is typically 2 hours and 20 minutes and consists of 4 sections, 5 if you include the essay. There's the verbal section, which has 34 synonyms and sentence completion questions, which are all multiple choice, focusing in on verbal reasoning and vocabulary and context. This section is 20 minutes long. Then you have a quantitative section, which is 38 multiple choice word problems, asking anything from math calculation and reasoning. This lasts for 35 minutes. Next, you have a reading comprehension section, which is 25 passage-based reading comprehension questions that are all multiple choice. Now this includes, again, from same as primary level, main idea, supporting idea, inference, vocabulary, organization logic, tone, style, and language. This is a little bit different than the primary level. and this takes up 25 minutes. Then there's the math achievements section. This is 30 questions, again, multiple choice. But as we get into the higher grades, you can expect more content to come up, such as whole numbers, decimals, fractions, percentages, still algebraic concepts and geometry, measurement, data analysis, and probability. It'll just be higher level. And this section is, again, 30 minutes. Finally, there is the essay. The essay is just a response to a written prompt, and they want to understand kind of a personal essay relation to what the prompt is asking. In this case, it is timed for 30 minutes. Moving up into the middle level and upper level, you're going to see a continual trend of what exactly are the sections. For middle level, this is for students entering grades 7 through 8. It is 2 hours and 40 minutes long. You have a verbal section again with synonyms and sentence completion with 40 questions, including 1 blank sentence completion. The content tested here is again verbal reasoning and vocabulary and context, and you only have 20 minutes to complete it. The quantitative section has 37 word problems. This includes multiple choice as well as quantitative comparison. And this is where students start to recognize there's a stark difference between primary and lower level versus the middle level and upper level. When we deal with the quantitative comparisons, it's 2-column comparison. Column A greater, column B greater, are they the same? Or can we not tell? Now, in addition, again, math calculations and reasoning is tested in here. This section lasts for 35 minutes. After that, you have a reading comprehension. Now we bump up to 36 passage-based reading comprehension questions that are all multiple choice, and this is typically about 6 passages worth. Again, testing you on main idea and supporting idea, inference, vocabulary, organization, logic, tone, style, language, and lasts for 35 minutes. Second to last section, math achievements. You have 47 questions now, and now this includes also word problems, all multiple choice, testing you on the same material as before: whole numbers, decimals, percentages, fractions, algebraic concepts, geometry, measurement, data analysis, and probability, but again, higher level, more complex types of questions. This is lasted for 40 minutes. Finally, you have the essay. Again, it's a response, personal essay style for 30 minutes. Finally, you have the upper level section. This is for students entering grades 9 through 12. Again, 2 hours and 40 minutes. And ultimately, almost the exact same structure as the middle level. Verbal section, you have 40 synonyms and sentence completion. This time, sentence completion can either have 1 or 2 blanks. The content tested here is, again, dealing with verbal reasoning, vocabulary, and context, and you only have 20 minutes to answer. Quantitative section, 37 word problems, multiple choice, quantitative comparisons again. You also have math calculations and reasoning tested here, lasting for 35 minutes. Reading comprehension, again, 36 passage-based reading questions, including stuff on main idea, supporting ideas, inference, vocabulary, organization, logic, tone, style, and language, all lasting for 35 minutes. Math achievements section, 47 questions, which include word problems, all multiple choice, number sense, higher level algebraic concepts in geometry, measurement, data analysis, and probability, all lasting for 40 minutes. And finally, the essay, which is a response to a prompt, personal style, lasting for 30 minutes. An important thing to keep in mind within each of these sections, whether it's the primary, lower level, middle level, or upper level, is that the test does not actually have a guessing penalty, unlike that of the SSAT. In the ISEE section, they test based off of what your raw score is, aka how many questions you answer correctly. There's no penalty system for guessing incorrectly, so for students who are taking the ISEE, it is recommended that you guess if you don't know the answer. Now, that being said, I always err on the side of caution. Don't guess too much, because if you guess too much, it's not going to end well for you, even if there is no guessing penalty. One final point to consider is the order of difficulty for the questions. Now, on the ISEE's website, it says that there is no specific order of difficulty. It's not arranged in a certain order. Now, some students feel like when they are dealing with certain sections, such as the verbal reasoning section, they feel like as they go through the synonyms or the sentence completion, the words tend to get a little bit more challenging, and I have seen that myself. Similarly, there are times within either the math achievements or quantitative section that there are some harder questions near the tail end. Now, this could be a combination of exhaustion factor, or students are just feeling like they're more complicated because they've seen so many different kinds of questions. But it is important to keep in mind that pacing and stamina is a very important aspect for this test, regardless of whatever level you are taking, whether it be primary, lower level, middle level, or upper level. I will say that if you're a student or if you are taking the ISEE, please feel free to reach out to us at Prepped and Polished. We'd be happy to set up a consultation to figure out what level you're supposed to be taking, what level are you currently at, and determine what is the best route for you to effectively work through this test. The only thing that I would bring up at the end of this, I know I mentioned that it's mainly the levels and the structure, but I just like to bring up one thing, and that's about the testing seasons. There are 3 testing seasons, which is a little bit different than the SSAT, or if you have an older student with the SAT or the ACT. The ISEE does it in testing seasons, so you can take 1 test per season. And again, just as a helpful reminder, there's the fall, which goes from August through November, the winter season from December through March, and the spring-summer season from April to July. Now, as someone who has worked with a lot of students on the ISEE, I would say that a bulk of our parents and students come to us either during the summer, prepping for the fall, or at the beginning of the fall, prepping for fall and winter. So keep that in mind as you're looking through the test as to what season makes the most sense for your student or you to take the test. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at Prepped and Polished. We'd be happy to talk about your options and what we can do to help in terms of tutoring and preparing your student for the test. This wraps up our show, episode number 244, Ise Levels and Structure. Please be on the lookout for our next podcast episode, number 245. Thanks for joining us on the Prepped and Polished podcast today. Now go out there and take control of your education.
You've been listening to the Prepped and Polished podcast. For more information, check out preppedandpolished.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for listening. Class dismissed.